We're only about a month away from Mirage's release now, and so it's only natural we're seeing more and more gameplay as we get closer. But this newest batch of gameplay comes from Game Informer. Ubisoft invited them out to Bordeaux as the first people outside of the studio to play Assassin's Creed Mirage, and we got to see some of their footage from playing the game, which is nice because we know this comes from actual gamers and not just developers trying to make the game look as graceful or as cinematic as possible. And I liked what we saw from it. There was nothing really too surprising or completely new shown off, but it kind of just helps give you a better understanding of what the game will actually play and feel like. I think first and foremost, the best part of this new gameplay that I saw was how much better the parkour looks compared to the gameplay demo we got back at Ubisoft Forward. It looked like in that old gameplay demo, they were kind of taking things slow with BASM so the viewer could absorb everything and try and make the game appear more cinematic, I guess. And as a result, the parkour looked pretty slow and choppy. A lot of people were wondering if they even made BASM truly faster than Eivor, but seeing the parkour in full speed here, it's very clearly much faster than Valhalla. Not only just with the parkour animations, but it looks like BASM's general sprinting speed is much faster too. Now, of course, the parkour still has a similar look and feel to Valhalla. That's no surprise at this point, but the added speed and fluidity to BASM's movement certainly looks like a noticeable improvement. And again, you can clearly see Baghdad is designed with parkour in mind. The guys who played the game were stressing the fact that it feels like you have ample amounts of different routes you can free run and parkour. Parkour is actually heavily incorporated, and less of the gimmick it could at times feel like in the RPG games. Again, if you've watched my videos, parkour was something I've been concerned about, and while it's clearly not going to be on the same level as those older games, these improvements from the last few games are definitely welcome. And Baghdad's parkour pathing and design is going to make a huge difference, I think. Little side note, but Baghdad just continues to look visually pleasing every time we see it. It looked even better in this footage, and we got to see some more nighttime footage as well, which was cool. If it's looking this good through a compressed YouTube video, I can't wait to see what it looks like when I actually get my hands on the game. We also got some small looks at some of the outfit dyes. Honestly, the customization is one of the things I'm really looking forward to in this game. I'm curious just how many dyes and different color combos will be available. The next big point though that they emphasized was that Mirage really does feel like a stealth-focused game, which of course we've heard time and time again, but even the contracts are designed and set up in a way to encourage stealth. All of the gameplay we got were from contracts again, just like the gameplay demo, and some of these areas and fortresses look pretty massive, especially for side content. And with these fortresses being so large, obviously stealth is more crucial than ever, and little extra incentives like an added reward for remaining undetected is a really nice touch. A lot of the old games had remain undetected as a way to achieve extra sync, so I like to see that. The first contract they described sounded pretty neat too, where they had to infiltrate a fortress and steal a boat, but first they actually had to open this large gate so that they could then get it out of there. So there's little layers to some of these contracts as opposed to just a plain assassination or heist. And again, pretty much all of the footage we've seen regarding Mirage so far has been from contracts, side content. I think it's impressive how much they seem to offer, considering it's not even from the main story. They do also touch briefly more on Assassin's focus. Now, I know there's been this huge debate within the community. People don't like the look of Assassin's focus and that it looks sci-fi and unrealistic. Everyone keeps pointing to Arkham Knight's multi-fear takedown or even Jade's chain assassinations to what it should be like. And while I don't disagree, personally, I would prefer for it to look more grounded as well. This isn't really a massive deal to me. And I do appreciate that Ubisoft Bordeaux actually offered an explanation, with it being an animus glitch and that the animus is having trouble keeping up with the speed BASM gets these kills in his memories. Whether people want to accept that reasoning or not, I'm just glad there is a reason behind it, so I can better understand and justify why BASM is teleporting in the 9th century. Do I wish it was different? Sure, but it really isn't a deal breaker to me at all, and I love the idea of the ability. There's gonna be some fun ways to activate it. They also explained that in the first contract, they didn't have Assassin's focus yet, so so it's definitely something we'll unlock as we progress through the main story. By the second contract, they could kill 3 enemies with it, and by the final one, which was a late game contract, they could kill 5 enemies with Assassin's Focus. I imagine like everything else, the progression is linear and connected to the story. We also got some more footage of the throwing knives. It does look like it one-shots standard enemies to the head, which I was really hoping for. Plus we know there's upgrades we can make to them to deal more damage. This throwing knife also seems to have a poison effect applied to it, which I'm sure is another thing we can acquire through the tool upgrades. That's most of the new gameplay. It was only a few minutes worth, but again, seeing the game in a more natural state that wasn't created for the sake of marketing or recorded to look more cinematic like for a demo, for example, definitely helps me better understand what the game will actually be like. And I like what I see. I think it looks even better than how it did in that demo. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see more of the combat. We've still seen very little in terms of combat so far, so hopefully we'll get an extended look at it before the game's launch. But regardless, it's only a few weeks now before we can play the game, so at this point, we're in the final stretch. Let me know what you guys think of the newest Mirage footage, and if you want to check out Game Informer's full video, I'll leave a link for it down in the description. But other than that, if you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you left a like and consider subscribing to the channel if you're new. Special thank you to my members for supporting me, and have a great rest of your day, everybody.